Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Claire, and I'm the roving chef for Scotland for Be for Life. So this week is Nutrition and Hydration Week. So this is an annual week that is to promote and energise conversation on topics around better nutrition and hydration. So particularly important for older people. So whether you live at home, perhaps you care for somebody in home, or maybe you're joining us today as a care home chef, and we've got something for everybody. So nutrition is such a broad topic, and we've got lots of resources to help you out there. But today I thought I would focus primarily on fortification. So if you're not familiar with fortification, it is about increasing the calorie and mostly increasing protein content of meals, but without actually increasing the portion size. So particularly important for older people that have um, reduced appetite, and perhaps you've got underlying medical condition, and maybe you're on certain medications that are reducing appetite. Maybe you're just a bit under the weather, or could even be that you're suffering from long COVID. So fortification will help you get that nutrition required on a daily basis, without really filling you up too much. So lighter meals are really popular at the moment. So things like finger foods. So please do check out our recent blog that links to this, but also my colleague Alex's blog that talks about finger foods. So really easy ways to make sure that you are getting your nutritional requirements. So around fortification, if you are a care chef, you're probably used to fortifying foods for your residents, and that generally is done with milk proteins and skim milk powder, full fat dairy. So obviously, if you're catering for a vegan or somebody with a milk allergy, that wouldn't be suitable. So to help you on your way, we've got a fantastic new guide, which is our fortification for vegans. So really delicious recipes that I actually eat myself at home that my colleague Ollie has developed for you. Lots of information around food fortification in here. So as we go along, I'll highlight the key considerations for fortifications, and I'll introduce you to some more of our publications. So for today's menu, I thought I would do nice light meals. So as well as food for nutrition, um, this campaign highlights the importance of hydration. So I'm going to be doing a nice fortified milkshake, which is absolutely delicious. So even if you're joining us today as a younger viewer, and perhaps you're somebody that likes to go to the gym a lot, and you drink protein shakes, this is a great milkshake that is made plant-based and is calling on whole foods rather than powders. But it's really important to recognise that the use of powders is particularly important for some people. So as I say, a lot of powders are derived from dairy sources. So the powders that I'm going to be using today are plant-based, and it's pea protein. So I really like to use pea protein as it's neutral, and the recipe that I'm using today is a pea soup, so this marries perfectly with that. The brand that I like to use is Pulsin. It's widely available in most supermarkets and health food stores, available online. And the good thing about this is it blends through hot and cold, and because it's got that neutral flavour, it can be added to soups, smoothies, sauces, casseroles, anything that you like at all, and it's going to give you that extra protein without really bulking up the portion size. So that's it. I'm going to start off with the pea soup. So what you'll require for that is some shallots or spring onions. So I've got a mixture of both. So coming into spring, you'll probably have access to some nice fresh peas. Frozen is equally as good. Some people say better because you've got all those nutrients sealed in during the freezing process that will go from field to freezer within hours to really keep those nutrients in. Also got some garlic. I like to use large garlic when I'm cooking, so it's not actually the bulb that is large, it's the individual cloves, and these are widely available in most supermarkets now. So I've got some cream here, but this is soya cream. So rather than using animal-based cream, loads of different creams available. But if you are a care caterer, I would say to try to use soya products. Soya is as close to nutritionally, particularly for protein content, that you would find for your cow's milk alternative. Lots of other different plant-based milks and creams are available, but we would recommend using soya. But of course, if yourself or your resident has a personal choice, I would also recommend oat. I've got some nice fresh mint. So I'm do a lot of work around food waste reduction. So if you are using fresh herbs, I would recommend storing them in a little bit of water to keep them nice and fresh and vibrant, or you could even grow them on your windowsill, something that even your residents can do as a nice activity. So cutting down on the food waste, I've got some leftover broccoli from my lunch, so I'm going to add that in as well. And what I quite like with this is that peas and broccoli are nutritional powerhouses, great source of fibre. They do have protein and iron in them as well, so this is going to add a real boost in your macronutrients. So we'll start off, get that pan on the go. So a good way to get extra calories into things as well as a soya cream is to use oil. So I'm using a good quality olive oil here. And we'll let that heat through. So as I mentioned, this pea soup is the super pea coming from our fortification guide. So all our recipes are you'll find them on our website, and if you search under the publications section, you can order these online, but you can also download an electronic copy free. So as well as the fortification guide, we've got some lovely new recipes that come out of our Veganising the Classics that my colleague Alex put together. Lovely recipes in here as well if you're looking for some more inspiration. So if you are concerned around what can be overwhelming for some people is to get really good quality verified nutrition facts. Our nutrition guide for older vegetarians and vegans is BDA approved, and it's packed full of information that you know comes from a verified source. And if you're still looking for more recipe inspiration and looking to keep your menu fresh, we've got our vegan rescue pack that's got lots of hints and tips. So perhaps you're new to catering for a vegan, or perhaps you're a new vegan yourself. Lots of information on what a vegan will eat, but more importantly, what a vegan won't eat. So if my pan's nice and warm now, I can go ahead and add my shallot and spring onion. So again, you could use standard onion for this. You could use all leeks, all spring onions, even red onion would work for this. So we just want to soften this off just for a few moments. So as an onion softening off, I'd like to talk to you about the tofu that I'm using today. So there's two main types of tofu. You'll get your firm tofu, which is generally in the chill cabinet of your supermarkets or chilled delivery. And we also have silken tofu that will be an ambient product. It looks like it comes in small Tetra packs. That would just be in the ambient section, generally the world food section of your grocers. So today we are using the chilled tofu, and this is firm tofu. So when you cut it, there will be quite a bit of liquid come off. So what we want to do is to prepare our tofu in advance. So we just want to take some clean paper towel, and we just want to let that absorb any excess liquid there. So you can press that with a heavier plate just to get rid of the excess liquid there. So if you've never cooked with tofu before, we've got lots of information available on tips for cooking with tofu, and we also have it as part of our caterer training that is available. You can check out the section that Justina covers on tofu. So you can see there you do get quite a bit of liquid coming off. So we just want to make sure that our tofu isn't too wet. Then we're just going to dice this up. So it's up to yourself how fine or chunky you like your tofu, but generally find that something round about a kind of inch is absolutely perfect. So we'll come back to that. Let's say this is for a tofu dish. So the tofu dish that I'm doing today comes from the fortification guide, and it is the tofu satay. absolutely wonderful dish. I eat this regularly. So again, this was my colleague Ollie's recipe. Chef's kiss is absolutely fantastic. So our shallots and spring onions are starting to get a little bit of colour on them. So this is a particularly quick soup to prepare. So again, just my own personal preference here, using up some food waste, I'm just going to add in some broccoli, and that is me reducing on my own food waste at home. And then I've got my garlic, so I've just roughly chopped that garlic. So I like to let my onions, shallots or spring onions, whatever your preference is, let them soften off a little bit first before you add your garlic. Your garlic can burn quite easily and we don't want that bitter flavour to develop. So because this is a completely plant-based soup, it virtually cooks in minutes. We don't need to cook it for a long time. And by cooking it for only 10-15 minutes, you'll seal in those water-soluble vitamins, but it also means you'll maintain that nice bright colour and flavour. So if you were doing this at home or in your care residence, let your broccoli soften off just for a few more minutes, but just for demo purposes, I'm just going to crack on and I'm going to go ahead and add my peas. So I'm just using frozen peas today. Into that, I've got some good quality vegetable stock. So if you are buying stock, please do check that it's suitable for vegans. If you're catering for a vegan or vegan yourself, quite a few of the cheaper stock cubes and cheap bouillons will contain milk powder or whey powder, and that will be clearly identifiable within the ingredient declaration of your product. And because that is an allergen, you'll be able to identify that easily. So I'll go ahead and add my vegan vegetable stock. So at this stage, your soup will look quite thin, but we're going to add our protein powder. So depending on how thick you like it, you can add a little bit less and a little bit more of your powder. So I say this will stir through and it will give you nice creamy consistency. So we're adding calories here, but we're also adding protein. So as you get older, it's particularly important to increase your protein. So if you're lacking protein, you probably noticed that your muscle definition was starting to wear down, but also you would feel quite tired. So you could also add spinach to this, fresh or frozen, would be absolutely wonderful as well. I really like using frozen spinach as a great convenience for a home cook or care chef, and it's such a versatile, easy ingredient to use. So at this stage you can add your mint, but I think for a nice vibrancy I'm going to add my mint towards the end. I think it just retains the freshness of the herbs if you add it towards the end. So I'm just going to transfer this to a back ring, and then I'm just going to cover that over. And we'll let that simmer for about 10-15 minutes, and then we can finish off with our soya cream and our nice mint. So a handful of ingredients in this recipe, and it really does become much greater than the sum of ingredients. The flavour is absolutely fantastic in this soup, and I say it's really nice and light and refreshing, but you've got all the extra nutrients packed in. It really is a wonderful recipe. So we'll make a start on the sauce for our satay. So this is an Asian style sauce, absolutely beautiful. Again, one of my favourites that Ollie's put together. So you can pre-mix this in a bowl and transfer to your pan. I find it easier just to go straight ahead into the pan. So for this you will require some peanut butter, some maple syrup or sweetener of your choice. For budgets, I tend to use a maple style syrup or a maple blend. Most supermarkets will sell those. Some soy sauce. Obviously, if you're catering for residents with increased blood pressure, I would recommend a low sodium soy sauce, widely available. I've got some fresh lime today. Of course, you could use lime juice from a bottle, no problem there at all. And then I've got some crushed chilies for a little bit of extra spice. So the good thing about spices in your dish, if you have residents that really enjoy heat and flavourful food, you can increase the spices. And if you've got residents that don't like the heat, you can just cut them down or take them out altogether. It really has got lots of options, this recipe. So we'll go ahead and add our wet ingredients to the pan. So I've got my soy sauce. And then my maple syrup. Just turn that heat down ever so slightly. That's me on a low to medium heat at the moment. And then one of my favourite ingredients, peanut butter. Absolutely love peanut butter. Great way of getting extra calories and extra protein into sauces. Gives a lovely flavour. Then go ahead and add some warm water. Again, if you wanted to increase the calories even more and make this a really, really creamy satay sauce, you could use the soy cream, you could use coconut milk. There's lots and lots of options. Of course, you guys as chefs will have your own creative twist. So this is a lovely base recipe to start with that you can really experiment with the flavours and make your own. So if you are using a fresh lime, really make sure you give it a good wash to get rid of any chemicals or waxes. And then top tip, give your lime a little massage. That way when you slice into it, the cells will have released all the juices and we can just go in with our knife and just squeeze that lovely vibrant lime juice in. So I'm going to turn my soup down now just to a medium heat just to reduce it to a simmer. And then just start to let that sauce come together. So at the moment, you might find that you've got a little bit of separation coming through on your peanut butter. Just keep stirring it and that will come back together. And then I do like a real punch of flavour, so I'm going to be quite generous with my chilli flakes. Just stirring that through. So as well as getting food for your nutrition, fluid is particularly important. So what I would recommend is if you're looking after someone or even for yourself, if you're on medication, really, really simple tip, provide a full glass of water with medication, and that way you're on your target to 1.5 to 2 litres of the requirements of fluids a day. I also like to start the day with some hot water with some lemon in it. Makes it much more palatable than just straight water. So of course tea and coffee will add to your fluid count as well. Some people think that acts as a diuretic, but I think that as long as you're getting enough mixture of fluids in your diet, that tea and coffee can count towards it. So of course plant-based milks, there's a huge variety available at the moment. But as I mentioned, we would recommend soya to have the nutrition as close to cow's milk. So our sauce is really starting to thicken up nicely now. Literally just have to warm this through. So I'm just going to take this off the heat and transfer it to a small bowl to dip. So if you find that your sauce is going too thick, you can just add a little bit extra water. So I'll set that to the side and we'll come back to that. So I've turned my soup down low now and it's just bubbling away nicely. So I'm just going to finish that off with a few spoonfuls of our soy cream. And then some nice fresh mint. Just going to roughly chop that mint down. Now I'm going to keep the stalks. I like to use the stalks for some mint tea. I really am looking at different ways at home and in the kitchen to reduce food waste as much as possible. I just prefer to add my fresh herbs in towards the end of the cooking, and that way it keeps it nice and vibrant for longer. Just stir that through. So we're just letting all those flavours get to know each other, just softening off the broccoli. So if you did want the addition of spinach, I would recommend just adding it at this stage. Okay, so our satay sauce is done, so now we're going to go on to prepare our tofu. So as I mentioned, we are using the firm tofu that's been pressed and patted dry and then cut into inch pieces. So we want to give our tofu a nice crispy crunch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan fry this. So again, a great way to add texture but also to add extra calories. So to give a really nice coating, I've just got some standard corn flour. Just going to dust that into a plate. And again, completely optional. If your residents like it spicy, you could add some additional spices here. I'm just doing a little bit of pepper. Then we'll just go in with our tofu chunks. And at this stage, we can go in with our hands and start to coat this. So you just want to make sure that each side is coated. So if you're new to cooking with tofu, Ollie has another wonderful recipe which is an alternative to fish and chips using tofu. So you could do it in small chunks like this for finger foods, or you could do it in a tofu slab to replicate a slice of fish. And that is combined with nori to give those extra umami flavours and flavours that are reminiscent of the ocean. Okay, so I'm just going to shallow fry this. Of course, if you're using a deep fat fryer within a care setting, really do make sure that when you are catering for your veggie vegan residents that you do fry separately. You really wouldn't want to be having cross-contamination of products that are cooked in fish combining with your plant-based options. So it's something to note. So we'll let that come up to the heat, and this will take literally minutes to cook. So I've got my tofu dip ready. I'm going to serve this with a nice little Asian style salad, and I've also accompanied it with a little bit of peel out rice or fried rice. So peel out rice and fried rice, again, great way to get extra calories in compared to boiled rice or something like noodles. Tossing things in oil will give you those extra calories without increasing the portion size. So I think a lot of people don't realise that as you get older, weight loss isn't normal. So it's really important to keep an eye on your weight. So weighing yourself regularly, but if you care for somebody or work within a care establishment, there's simple things that you can look out for. Are dentures loose? Do collars look like they're loose? Perhaps watches and rings are starting to look loose. Or you're noticing if you are a carer going into somebody's house that there is not a lot of food in the fridge, or perhaps there is food that's going uneaten. Really good to get conversation going around weight loss. So we want to stop it before it leads to malnutrition. So as I say, BDA verified nutrition guide is your go-to resource from Be for Life, available on our website. So our oil is starting to warm up now. And we'll go ahead and add that in. You'll hear it sizzle. So we're just looking to get this nice and crispy as you would any other fried product. And by frying that off, you're going to get those nice crispy edges. So in the meantime, I'm just going to finish off with our plant-based milkshake. So again, this recipe is from the fortification guide. This is Ollie's recipe. I absolutely love this. I would tend to have this for my breakfast. It's so delicious. So we're starting off with our chocolate banana milkshake. So I've got some cocoa powder. So again, do make sure it's cocoa powder that you're using. It's not drinking chocolate. So make sure it's cocoa powder that's suitable for vegans. We'll add it there. And then a banana, not even any need to chop this. As long as you've got clean hands, we can go in straight away into our beaker. And then I've got my soy milk. And then for a little bit of sweetness, I've got some Canadian maple. Then you could use those maple blends. You could even use sugar for this. There is actually not much nutritional difference between sugar and your syrups. It's just whatever your sweetener of your choice is. And then to that we can add some peanut butter as well for extra punch. And of course, you could feel free to go ahead and add in some of the pea protein as well. So I'm going to use a blender for this. Just going to shake my tofu about, just making sure it's evenly coated here. That's starting to go nice and crunchy. So just cooking this as you would if you were deep frying or pan frying anything else. Such a simple dish. Just turn the heat down slightly. Just going to get left just a little bit here. Just going to blitz down. Going to use a hand blender for this. So again, you could make a large batch of this in a jug blender. This is such a quick recipe. You can make this ahead of time as well. It's a beautiful, glossy, silky, nutritious drink. So then you can serve this as per the recipe. You could be adventurous and add in some flax seeds if you prefer. And you could add in some chia seeds. You could add in some cinnamon. I just love it as it is with the banana and chocolate. It's absolutely delicious. So once your tofu has crisped up, like any deep frying, you want to drain off the excess. So once this is crispy on all sides, we can take this to our plate. Again, you can drizzle the sauce over, and I like to have it as a dip on the side. It's completely up to yourself how you serve this. Absolutely delicious dish. And once that's drained off, you could serve this on skewers. You could toss it through noodles. So today I'm serving it with the salad and the little bit of fried rice. So this is such a wonderful dish. Very budget friendly as well. You've got that lovely crunch on the outside and that delicious dipping sauce. Absolutely love it. So we'll go ahead now and we will finish off our soup. So if you are cooking this at home, because we've left this to steam away on a low heat, you will get quite a lot of steam coming out of your pan, so just take care when you lift off your pan lid. And again, I'm going to use a hand blender. If you were doing this at home for safety, I would recommend letting it cool down before you blend it and return to the heat. But just for demo purposes today, guys, I'm just going to crack on. So excuse me again while it gets loud for a few moments. So I do find this soup is best served on the day that you make it. It keeps those lovely vibrant green colours. Again, you don't want to leave this on the heat too long. You don't want to lose all those beautiful chlorophyll colours that we associate with the peas and the broccoli. So then we can just finish off with a little bit extra garnish. Just take a little sprig of our mint. Then I'm just going to finish off with a little drizzle of that soy cream. So we do say we eat with our eyes. And then everybody's favourite, that little chefy drizzle of olive oil. So even though these are from our fortification guide, I think anybody can enjoy these recipes rather than just adding in excess whey powders and milk powders. Ollie's really taking these time to develop these recipes, so they're packed with nutrition. They are absolutely delicious and they are an absolute crowd pleaser. So there we have it. There is Ollie's Super Pea Soup with my addition of broccoli. And the absolutely wonderful chocolate banana milkshake. So cheers. I absolutely love that recipe. So thank you so much for joining us today to raise awareness of the nutrition and hydration campaign. Please do check out their website and also check out our website for all our publications and our blogs that link to this demonstration. Of course, if you've enjoyed this and you would like to hear more from Be for Life, you know what to do. Please like and subscribe below. Switch on that bell as well if you want to hear the notifications for when our next demo comes out. So I think the theme for our next demonstration is going to be around budget cooking. So of course you do not need me to tell you about the increases in food prices recently. So please stay tuned to our channels for that. Of course, please do like and share. It really does help us out. And if you have any questions or if you want to share any of your own hints and tips around nutrition and hydration, or if you cook anything from our guides, we would love to see that. And you can contact the team at chefs@vegetarianforlife.org.uk. So please do keep safe and well and enjoy Nutrition and Hydration Week. Bye now.